I want to be around like-minded people. I want to be around growth-minded people. If I've done a good job of protecting my mind when things get rocky there, I show up clear, calm, helpful. We always think that things have to be complicated, and sometimes they don't at all. They can be very, very simple.
Be really selective about who your closest associations are, because they really are a big factor of influence for you.
You are the average of the 5 people you spend the
Yeah.
most time with.
Hi there, I'm Drew Walker.
And I'm Heidi Joy.
So today we wanted to talk about protecting your mind, because what goes in there is just so important. And
Well, when we talked about this preliminary, you
mhm.
were talking about what you feed your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was more about protecting my mind.
Mhm.
So share a little bit about the importance of feeding your mind for you.
Totally. That would be why when I said protect your mind, I was like, wait a minute, what about that? I don't know much about that, because
Yeah.
that's not my approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've just always taken the approach that I feel like I can do a lot more damage, meaning I can gain a lot more ground when I'm taking action and when I'm doing something. So, listening to great audio and putting more in.
Like listening to a great
Like
podcast.
listening to a great podcast. There's a lot of great metaphors for it. So, like, if you've got a glass that's got dirty water in it and you just pour clean water in the glass, it'll clean out. And I don't know if that actually works like that, but like, that's a great visual. And I feel like your mind is this vacuum. And I think that we're exposed to so much.
Mhm.
And I know that I am just not going to be reliable to protect my mind. So, like, when we talk about setting up barriers and like, okay, can only go on Instagram for 20 minutes a day. That's just, I don't know that that's workable for me. Like, I
Okay.
can't do that. So I know that I'm going to take in a particular amount of news. I know that I'm going to take in a particular amount of social media. For me, I think it's easier for me to kind of flush the bad stuff out with good stuff after.
What are some of the things that you currently feed your mind with? I know one of them.
Yeah. What's the one that you know?
It's that big book that you read, and there's some guy named Jesus in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've started praying again every day, which I think is sort of the ultimate reset, whether you believe that you're a religious person or not, or have a relationship with God or not. I think that we can all have a conversation with ourselves and the eternal, and I think that that gets you out of the way. And
can I tell a secret about you?
sure, yeah,
Did you know that this guy can sing?
I can, yeah, I can sing,
And
yeah,
where do you sing?
I sing at church, yeah, so I sing in the church choir.
That's one of the places and one of the resources that you use. So do you like more inspirational type, or do you more tactical type? Like what helps feed your mind the best, you think? Or is it both?
Um, well, I feel like I don't know, that's kind of a loaded question. So on the Bible side, I draw a lot of inspiration and challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, as I think through it, if I think about the other kind of folks that I like to listen to,
Mhm.
it's always there's an element of, yeah, like everything's gonna work out, and life's gonna be beautiful. There is an element of that,
Mhm.
but I think I personally function more on that reality check. I am responsible for my life, and that I need to take actions that are consistent with the life that I want. And I need to stop taking actions or having behaviors that are inconsistent with the life that I want. And that ultimately it's all on me. And I kind of like getting a smackdown. Like, that for me personally is
Okay.
very empowering.
Well, and again, this is one of the ways that we differ, right? So
Yeah.
I'm more of the mindset of protecting it.
Mm.
And I call it living in the beach bubble. I come over the bridge, I see the water, and I get to choose what invades my space. I, on purpose, don't listen to the news. I have a lot of wonderful friends in my life that if something is really important, they'll let me know
Yep.
because they all know that I don't listen.
Yep.
Um, and I like to hear the waves.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't know what it is, but like it feeds my soul. It calms my temperature. Just takes me to a place that helps me function better.
You said to me the other day that when you are in your happy place,
Mhm.
which for you is being near the water,
Yep.
that it's like a protective kind of shield goes over you and you feel like you can handle anything. You said something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's where I draw my strength too,
Yeah.
which is, a whole nother subject. But, for me, I have to be careful what I allow in.
Mm,
And I limit my time on social media. Like I check in when I need to check in, and then I get in and I get out.
yeah.
Because I don't want to fall down in, because I've done it in the past. I don't want to fall in rabbit holes there. Sometimes you need to protect yourself from people,
Mm,
because some people are just not the most positive. They're not the most inspirational. And
do you have a
they,
particular instance that you're thinking of?
yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to use any specific names, but I was living with someone that did not build me up. They tore me down.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to be in that situation again. I want to surround myself with people who lift me up. And I'm really particular about who I allow in that space, because I want to be around like minded people. I want to be around growth minded people, and they're the ones that are allowed in.
Gotcha.
And there's so many of us out there. So I know that there's other people like that. So me putting myself in that protective space just works to keep me going. Because when I'm around too much negativity or drama, ugh,
Right.
like I'll run. Like I will run as fast as I possibly can. Cuz that doesn't work for me. Some
Mm-mm.
people are like they thrive on it. I'm not one of those people.
No. The other thing I really admire about you is that so like in the different groups of real estate agents that we're a part of, you are very careful about having conversations about people that are negative. You're very careful about not speaking about people in an adverse way.
It doesn't serve any
Yeah.
purpose, right?
Yeah.
And even if there's a person or a situation that there's a lot of whatever stuff that I don't really love, I can always find good somewhere. I can
Yep.
always pick out a pearl somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I can make the decision if I'm going to go further there. And I think that one of the lessons that I've learned is because our businesses can get stressful. Family life can get stressful sometimes, and if I've done a good job of protecting my mind when things get rocky there, I show up clear, calm, helpful. If I come from a I'm going to use this example. I went to the hot tub the other night, and there was this lady sitting there, and I heard like voices, and I'm like, what is going on? She had her phone laying on the edge of the hot tub, and she was listening to this like angry news. I don't know what it was, because I
Ugh.
don't even, and I'm like, what
Wait a minute.
this
This is in the hot tub,
yeah, I'm like, this
like
is,
right out there.
yeah, I'm like, this is so counterproductive. You're supposed to be, and one thing that I noticed was her arms were tense and like, well, of course, because what she was listening to.
Right. It gets
And
in you before you even know it. Like it
and
just gets in
and
you.
she looked at me and she's like, "Would you like me to shut that off?" And I'm like, "Oh, please."
Uh-huh.
So she shut it off, and within just a few minutes, her whole body position started to change. And if that wasn't the most impromptu example of consuming something or letting something in that doesn't doesn't help. So if something, I don't know. I think that if you want to show up as your best, you have to protect this.
Sometimes I get really annoyed with all of like the training calls that I have in there. And then I know like sometimes people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're going to another weekend with those real estate agents. Like, what are you doing flying over there now? Like, what are you doing going to this conference and that conference?" That time is so valuable with those communities
Mhm.
to help to put in new good stuff.
Yep.
Like, I noticed that if I go to one of those weekend events or one of those speaker series, that I always come out refreshed and renewed, or at least with some new idea, or feeling like I'm connected to other people that are dealing with what I'm dealing with. And
That makes total sense.
yeah, I mean, like I think about what it was like for me when I had my own brokerage
Mhm.
before I joined our brokerage, KW, and I was completely a man on an island. I had nobody. I mean, I had my team and
Right.
they're awesome. But in terms of colleagues who are building something or doing something that I'm doing, I had zero connectivity.
Mhm.
So all I was dealing with was this vacuum of information. And the moment that I got myself tapped into the luxury community at KW, everything changed for me. And all of a sudden, I started to relate to myself differently. I started to relate to myself like, oh, I could build this bigger business.
Right.
And I was not so curmudgeon anymore.
And that's a great real example. And while you were sharing that, I my mind kind of went in more of a personal direction. Um, when I get and feel that way, because I do.
Mm,
One of my favorite things is to go get my grandkids,
mm,
um, and let them fuel me. Because you have to be present when you're with a 3 and a 4 year old.
right.
Like you have to be 100% present. And never in a million years did I think that that would be a place that I would put in the bubble, if you will. I love
Yeah.
bringing the kids in the bubble, and they make me relax, and they make me childlike again, and just play and have fun, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I wish for everybody that they find what it is, whether it's feeding it or protecting it, but find their secret sauce that helps them come back to the world that you have to function in a renewed way,
Mhm.
and just find whatever your thing is.
I love going and walking the dogs. Like, I don't have kids. We're probably not going to have kids. Like, always in and out of
You have
conversations with
kids,
that.
one's brown and one's white.
I, exactly. Yeah.
They're a little
Yeah.
hairy.
Yeah, yeah, and they are just such a joy to me. Like, sometimes I get really annoyed that I have to take them on a walk if I'm being honest, but as long as it's not really bitter cold outside, it's the best time of my day. I get to go out and just sort of be out in nature. We live in a really beautiful place
Mhm.
that's away from freeways and there's lots of woods and not a lot of houses. And the moment that I get out there, it's kind of like the dogs are my association. And I start talking to the dogs. Would you talk to dogs if you had dogs?
I always talk to dogs. I was named
Okay.
after a
All right.
dog, for
Okay,
God's
great.
sakes.
Okay, good. So I'm not the only one. But like when I'm out on the walk, I'm talking to them and people are walking by me and I love that time with my dogs.
Mhm.
I love that. And I love having people around me that let me kind of clean my mind up.
And these walks for you in this beautiful nature for you is your happy place.
Mm.
And I can tell if you've walked the dogs or not. And I say that with love.
I know. I
Um,
know.
because I'm guilty of that as well. Like I push, I push, I push, I push, I push, and sometimes I just need to stop and take this dog for a walk. Like go just move a muscle, change a thought, and that helps clear the mind, protect the mind. Trying to shove a square peg in a round hole that isn't fitting. Sometimes if
Mm-mm.
you just step away, in your world, take the dogs for a walk. For me, it's take a walk on the beach. And I just it's so simple.
Yeah.
Like we always think that things have to be complicated, and sometimes they don't at all. They can be very, very simple.
There was a few weeks recently that I was having trouble getting out of bed. I was sleeping in. I would go to bed and I would sleep for literally 10 hours and I would wake up and I would be tired.
Mhm.
And like my back would kind of hurt, but not really. And it was really just grumpy every morning. And that lasted for, I don't know, 2, 3 weeks, something. And then luckily, I had my wonderful husband say to me, like, what is going on with you? Like, you seem depressed. What you're not doing is you're not just getting up at the same time every day. And like, when is the last time you prayed? And I realized I hadn't done that in 4 months. And so I think that once you find your thing, it's easy to forget it.
Sure.
That's the point that I was trying to make there. Like, you can have all the right habits in place. Like, I went for years without watching the news.
Hmm.
Years. And then along came COVID, and I was like addicted to the news again. And it's been a struggle to get that out of my life ever since. But
Well,
then
and
then you came along and you were like, maybe you should watch a little bit less news. So I am working on protecting my mind.
well, yeah, and I remember when you came to visit me over Labor Day weekend, and you had however many bazillion hours in the car, and you had listened to some news,
Just a
and
little bit.
you were a little spun up when you
I was a little on
arrived,
fire. I was a little on fire.
and I'm like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
we're not doing that this weekend. That is not what we are doing."
Yep.
And you're like, "Well, what would it?" And you didn't listen. You didn't listen to any of it for 3 days, and you're like, "Wow."
Life's a lot better.
Yeah,
Life's a lot better. And I know that there's a whole conversation out there for that it's not like there's a lot of arguments for that. It's not socially responsible to not listen to the news. And yet at the same time, I will say that if something really big is happening, people
right.
are going to let me know.
Yeah, and
People are going to let me know.
they're gonna let us know, and then we can go get more information at
Exactly.
our discretion.
Yeah.
So I think that again, the key message here is put good stuff in.
Hmm.
Try to protect yourself as much as you possibly can, and go wash it off
Yep.
if it gets in there. And it's okay to be grumpy, and it's okay to have those moments, but then do something about it, right? Like, you
And
don't have to stay there, and you don't have to beat yourself up because you forgot to pray, right?
right.
Like, just get back on the horse. You fall off, get back on.
Yep. And I think the other key message is be really selective about who your closest associations are because they really are a big factor of influence for you. Like what is, yeah, the top 5 people that you associate with,
I
however that's said. And I think,
We
like,
want to be 2 of the 5.
well, we do want to be 2 of your 5. And I think that the more you pay attention to that, the better life works out.
Yeah, and the saying actually is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the
Yeah.
most time with. And again, I want to be 2 of those people for
Yep.
everybody who's listening.